We've all wondered what it would be like to sacrifice everything to pursue something we love, venturing into the unknown knowing the only guarantee is that failure is possible. If we'd have the mental and physical fortitude to navigate through the countless challenges that face us, it'd be uncomfortable yet fulfilling, exciting yet overwhelming, but I believe truly necessary in committing to something you 100% believe in. We've all thought about this. I'm ready to make it a reality. I'm Nicky Centracchio, and this is the story of going all in on what I love. This is the First or Fence story. Before we get started, it's important to understand what First or Fence means so you can understand why this podcast is called the First or Fence story. When I became a NASCAR fan, my favorite part about the sport was how competitive each race is and how hard it is to win. Each race, only 1 in 40 drivers walk away with a trophy. Although points are paid to everyone, only one team truly walks away satisfied. I love this because the sport revolves around not settling for anything other than first. Unlike other forms of motorsports where podiums are celebrated heavily, NASCAR rewards first place, and finishing second is sometimes worse than finishing last. You've heard the saying, second place is just the first place loser, and if you ain't first, then you're last. First or Fence might hold a bad connotation because some may think it means if you know you're not going to win, then just quit and give up, or if you didn't win that race, then you failed. The truth is, in racing and in life, everyone's circumstance is different, and a win on my scale may be different than a win on your scale. Anyways, I heard the phrase First or Fence when I heard Darrell Waltrip use it, a driver who raced from the 70s all the way through the 90s, collecting 84 wins during that time. In NASCAR terms, First or Fence means either win or go so fast in trying to win that you hit the fence, which is another term for the wall in NASCAR. Now here's how I look at First or Fence. First or Fence means in everything you set out to do, observe the situation that you are in, take what is in front of you, and do everything in your control to produce the best possible result. When I say everything you do, I mean anything from small daily tasks to huge goals that take years or decades and sum up to create your life. The second part of the name fence can mean two things. It's the other option in the phrase, and it goes like this. If you're setting out to do something, set out to do it with the expectation of achieving the best possible result, or do not set out to do it at all. It can also mean, when setting out to do these things, be willing to risk everything to achieve your goal. We can get into details, but I think you know I don't mean literally everything, because at the end of the day, that might be a net negative and come at the expense of a long-term win. Think about this. I'm going on a fishing trip. The fishing trip is going to take time, effort, money, and more. When I imagine a good fishing trip, I imagine catching a huge fish. So my goal is always to catch the biggest fish I can within the circumstances that limit me. Lowering my standards and settling for anything less than this would simply be a waste of all that time and effort, but it also leaves me wondering how big of a fish I could have caught if I had truly committed 100% to doing this thing I love doing. And that is the true detriment. At the end of the day, First or Fence is about the competition within you, because you cannot control what your competitors are doing, and because you aren't always necessarily competing against someone. All you can do is prepare, and whatever results are yielded are a direct representation of that preparation. Excuses can almost always be avoided. It's easy to blame circumstances out of our control. If you're going to do that, then why even try if you truly believe you could lose due to things out of your control? Take responsibility. This doesn't mean you have to be fully committed to every competition you're ever in, but it means you have to be fully committed to taking 100% responsibility for the outcome. That means don't expect an outcome unequal to the work you put in. While some losses don't bother me as much as others, and trying to win them might come at the expense of other bigger goals or wins, they are still a loss. My point is, choose your battles. There's always losses along the way to huge wins. Do everything with purpose to win and to accomplish the goal you set out to achieve. Okay, with all that said, you're probably wondering what that has to do with me and the First or Fence story. While I tried to articulate my understanding of First or Fence the best I could, it's going to take something bigger to truly understand that idea, live by it, and be able to talk about it to everyone. So that's when this story and the podcast come in. I love NASCAR, but more than anything, I love my brand, First or Fence, and the limitless ceiling of opportunities for it. When I started, I knew it was the beginning of something I intended on growing for my whole life and committing to 100%. While some things may change, this idea will always be what I live by, making it impossible to outgrow. After a year of a weekly NASCAR podcast and watching NASCAR happen on TV through the third person, I realized watching wasn't enough and that NASCAR is the perfect catalyst to grow First Defense. My vision started to become clear, and I knew in my heart what I had to do. I had to match my passion for First Defense and NASCAR with action and truly commit to it. While I may be able to comfortably grow First Defense and myself as a person from the safety of what I've been around my whole life, the only way to truly First Defense is to dive headfirst into what this brand is about. So how do I do this? How do I bring out the best of my abilities in everything I do and translate that into my passions? How do I challenge myself mentally and physically in order to ingrain the First Defense mentality into my head? All this is required if I want to live by something I believe in so much. The first step is to burn the bridge that leads back to comfort, so the only option I'll have is to go forward. Next, I'll need to be surrounded by inspiration as a reminder of why I am pushing so hard. That inspiration will be right in front of me physically, but in reality there is endless adversity to be overcome if I want these shrines of inspiration to be my own reality. Lastly, I'll need tools and opportunities available, and I'll need to take advantage of those to the fullest. I do not have to know where all this will lead me, and I do not have to know specifically what I am going to do. I just need to know the only option is going all in on my passion, and to do anything less than that is a disservice to myself and a disservice to anyone who supports First Defense. So this is the First Defense story. My story of committing 100% to achieving my plethora of goals, starting with truly understanding going all in on life to growing First Defense into a diverse media company, contributing to a Daytona 500 winning team, and so much more. This is what it takes to be in the best possible opportunity to achieve those things. See you soon, Charlotte. The First Defense story starts now.